For years, D&B fans who love deep cuts have requested more variety and for the band to play out its catalog. Well, we're getting the most diversive single night set lists we've ever gotten in the history of Dave Matthews Band. Some shows are better than others, and we'll talk about tonight and reflect on the amazing run of single night stands as we head into Charleston next week after this St. Louis show. D&B Post Show stream starts now.
I found a stranger walking in the woods. She was not quite like anyone I knew. Red dress, polka dots, shadows in her hair. She said, "You take me and I take you there." Now she's going round and round inside of my head. I think I'm just a little too close to the edge. You took everything from me, and now I'm falling into this never-ending sea. I know you got your best to give to me. You know you hold me up. I know it seems that I have crossed into a dream since I've been flying, so fly. Big stack, jump back, crumble into you, boy. Good boy, won't stay as high as your eyes. Sister, twisted, my love to fly, but I wanted for you to give a little bit of everything. I know you got your best to give to me. You know you hold me up. I know it seems that I have crossed into a dream since I've been flying, so fly. It's blue and it's red. Found a new door to open my head. How could I go to bed? Think I'll walk around the moon instead. It was blue and it was red. Found a new door inside of my head. How could I go to bed? Think I'll walk around the moon instead. Yeah. Take it so far. I was just a little close to the edge. You pulled me back and said, "It's not how it is." Because you gave me everything. I'm flying into this kaleidoscope dream. I know you got your best to give to me. You know you hold me up. I know it seems that I have crossed into a dream since I've been flying, so fly. It's blue and it's red. Found a new door to open my head. How could I go to bed? Think I'll walk around the moon instead. It was blue and it was red. Found a new door inside of my head. How could I go to bed? Think I'll walk around the moon
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. STL, what up? Columbia, what up? Jeff City, what up? Chesterfield, what up? East St. Louis, I hope y'all okay. Springfield, Illinois, what up? Shout out O'Fallon. Maryland Heights, what up? Shout out Kansas City. Y'all gonna figure out who gonna fund this new stadium? Them new stadiums? The Chiefs and the Royals are waiting. Shout out St. Joseph's, Missouri. Shout out Pastor Brian Zahn out there in St. Joseph's, Missouri. DMB fan. Did a sermon on Samurai Cop. Shout out to the Ozarks. Shout out Nelly. What up, what up? It's your boy Conserviz 34, and I can say it now because on the East Coast, it is now past midnight. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We talked about this in the last two fall tours. When you want the band to not repeat songs from the previous night, when you want the band to have more variety, it can be a gift and a curse. And I believe tonight's show, for the deep cut lovers specifically, was probably the least favorite show for deep cut lovers, or the least desirable show out of the last run of shows we've gotten. That's not a bad thing in the sense that most of the fans that show up to these shows, especially if you're in St. Louis, you haven't had a show in years, some fans only will come to a hometown show. Logistics don't allow them to travel outside of their city or their region. as far as this, greater St. Louis metro. And so if you only go to D&B shows in Maryland Heights, or when they play Busch Stadium and they're in the St. Louis metro, you got the first ever performance of Idea of You for this venue. You got the first ever rooftop, right? And so you got things that you never literally got at this venue specifically. Maybe you caught some of this stuff in St. Louis, or maybe you went to Kansas when they played there sometimes in the last decade or so. I remember 2016, they had the Shotgun there in Kansas. But this is a show where, hey, they didn't repeat stuff from the night before, or even there were a few things repeated from the night before that. Now, yes, you did have Peace on Earth played again. Technically, it was repeated, but they're road testing that song. But you have stuff that hasn't been played in 3+ shows for the most part. And then you have tour debuts. So you do have certain songs, like maybe some fans who like the classic catalog don't like Rooftop. But nonetheless, I like the focus of this band, because they're doing something that we've wanted literally for the entire history of this band. Whenever you joined in, if you love deep cuts, most of the people watching this, you love to get those special gems at shows. You don't just want the hits. And if you just want the hits, that's fine too. But the thing has been, when you go to a couple one-night stands, you get a bunch of overlap. If you go to 3 or more, you're going to get tons of overlap. And sometimes it's good songs that you like, and sometimes it's songs that you don't really need to hear again. By the way, Madman's Eyes was not played tonight. Right? It has not been played as frequently as the last year. And Madman's Eyes last year wasn't as frequently played as it was in 2023. Now, we do have Peace on Earth that pops in here, but this band is playing out their catalog. Let me give a little context to the repeats here. And let's go through some of the songs in the last 3 shows that that had some semblance of a repeat. You have Tripping Billies. That was last played 2 shows ago when we go back to Jones Beach, right? And so it has been played twice, but that's a song that fans like to hear. I know some fans think it's got to have a violin, but this is a song that is loved by the fan base. Not going to really have much of a frustration there. And if you got both of these songs, you had to have gone from Jones Beach out there in Long Island, Wantagh, New York. Shout out to Nassau County. And you would have had to be in St. Louis, Missouri. And there's probably not that many people outside of the band and crew that were at both of those shows. There probably were people. I would not be shocked. I know some people, will travel with this band for a couple of, their job allows them to travel, or they just take a week or 2 off, or they're teachers and they can go to a lot of shows, but not a lot of overlap for fans there. And you got Tripping Billies. That's a song that's beloved. Now, God Only Knows was played twice in this run. It was played Jones Beach and also at last night's show. And still, the first performance was a partial. It was very quick. It was not polished. Then they had like a redo, and they polished it up for last night's show at Riverbend. So I don't even you can give nuance to that. And then the third one is Peace on Earth was played all 3 shows, but the first show was in the E1. The second show was the song full band debut of it with extra parts. And then tonight was just another road test play. So even so, this is a fresh idea. I'm sure people in St. Louis who were listening to Sirius XM Radio, Dave Matthews Band Channel 30, were curious to see, hey, maybe let's hear how this sounds. The band itself is trying to see what's going to become of this song. Sometimes these ideas are played for a couple of weeks or played for a tour or two, and then they never come back. Sometimes these become permanent mainstays, even if they're not on a studio album. But I don't think anyone's going to be upset about that. And so we have the catalog being expanded. Yes, there are still songs waiting to be liberated, like Kit Kat Jam Full Band, right? We got it with Dave and Tim. One Sweet World with the instrumental intro. But there's plenty of time for that stuff to come out. And even if those specific songs don't come out, if they keep up what they're doing, and in a world where people are cutting back on everything so that they can just afford a house, right? A bigger house, right? I'm glad we have, my wife and I have this place now, but we're going to have to get a bigger spot. In a world where it just does not seem worth it to pay all the fees and the parking and all these extra costs that are added on to seeing live music, it is absolutely worth it. If you have the financial means, do not go into debt seeing any band. I'm sorry, don't. I mean, you can, you have free will, but I'm saying don't do that. It's dumb. But if you have the money and you're saying I'm holding this back just because of the times for stuff that's really worth it, it's really worth it to go see Dave Matthews Band. You don't have to wait till July. Like I told you last 2 years, you can go see them in Charleston next weekend and expect variety. You can go to a one night stand in after Charleston or whatever you want to mix and match. And you are seeing a band that is making a clear-cut attempt to rotate songs in and out to the likes of some jam bands. Now, tonight's show was a little bit shorter than normal, but I see looks like, is that T.C. Kaufman said Dave's daughters were there. He did mention that. I did hear that in the couch tour. Also, the video of Peace on Earth, from someone was behind the soundboard. You could see Dave's twin daughters. I didn't want to mention that. I mean, everyone could probably see it. Copperpot, posted that. Like, it was really cool to see that. But, now that they're going back home, I didn't want to mention it on social media. I mean, again, you if you knew, you knew. But I don't like spreading, the kids are here, because then people start getting creepy. Which is sad, but that's how it is. But Dave's daughters were there, perhaps maybe other people's families, maybe not. But nonetheless, even this show, I don't knock them for having this show be a little bit quicker than normal and them getting home to their families. Some of these band members are fathers, from Buddy to Dave to Carter and Stefan. And I believe Jeff may be a bonus father or whatever he labels it with his wife's children. So happy Father's Day. If Rashawn has kids, I don't know if Tim, and that's not my business, right? If they haven't said it publicly, but if whoever is a father in the crew, in the band, I want to wish them a happy Father's Day, because they take so much time away from their family to give us this joy. And with that, I want to bring on the first guest. We're going to have Connor on, and as well Jess and Wayne, and we have videos from Kumi. But I want to bring on Connor first. Let's go ahead and set that up, and we'll get everything going here. And hold on, let's see. Thank you guys again for your patience as I get everything set up. All right, we have Connor F on. How you doing, Connor?
Oh, hi, I'm doing good. How's it going, Marcus?
It is going well. So you were at Riverbend last night. You are now experiencing the first St. Louis show in a long time, or 2019, I think it was, which is really a lot for the band to catch up on. What did you think of tonight's show?
I thought tonight's show was fun. It definitely had a lot different of a vibe than Riverbend, which is okay. That's not a bad thing, but I can tell that the two set lists, Dave had just like a different attitude writing them. But yeah, I thought the show was really fun.
And this show had a little bit of a different open here. PNP and the Rapunzel. Then Idea of You coming in. So just was, like you said, just a different vibe. How was the crowd tonight? Even I know you said things were different compared to Riverbend.
Yeah, the crowd tonight was pretty good. It looked like a fairly packed house. They knew all the big hits that were played. Obviously, some of the deeper cuts like Dive In or Hello Again, not as many people reacted to, but I'd say the crowd tonight was fairly good.
And this show here has some covers. We've had covers on Saturdays. We had no cover Saturdays the last 2 weeks, but we did have a couple of them here. Three of them tonight. How did those covers land in the set for you?
I mean, I think Fool in the Rain was placed appropriately tonight. That's always like a fun cover to hear. That one got the crowd going tonight for sure. Then Rye Whiskey's a Dave solo. It doesn't matter to me what he plays in those E1 slots, just because most of the time he comes up with them on the fly. Like on the set list, it's literally just solo. So that's ultimately just Dave choosing at that moment. And then Watchtower, yeah, it's not my favorite closer. I would much rather hear them close with a one of their own songs. Something like Gray Street or Two Step would have been better for me. But it seemed that the crowd was very into that song and they played it hard tonight. So definitely, it wasn't my favorite way to close the show, but definitely not the worst.
And you got a second pass at Peace on Earth. Any different feelings, any additional observations with this second performance of the song Full Band?
It sounded kind of the same way it did yesterday. I didn't notice them. I didn't notice any noticeable changes with Peace on Earth. It was still a banger. Like I really liked that song live, but yeah, nothing noticeable to change.
All right. And what was the loudest crowd pop of the night for this show?
Uh, Probably Watchtower or Billy's at the end of the show. Everyone seemed very engaged during those songs.
All right. And what was your personal favorite song of the night?
I really liked the Hello Again tonight. That was fun. I really liked the Graves. The PNP Rapunzel opener. I've never gotten that one as an opener before, so that was pretty cool. I'm trying to think of more. The Nancy's tonight was really good too. One of those.
All right. And sum up this weekend for you as far as you hopping back on the road with this band for two shows, two different vibes, two unique sets outside of Peace on Earth. What do you think so far of this tour that you've experienced?
Dude, this tour has been really solid so far. I've really liked all three of the sets that we've gotten. They were all special in their own way, and I'm very excited to see what this band has in store for the multi-night runs coming up. I know we got us personally, we have Chicago, and then we have Deer Creek within the next month, and then we go out to Gorge at the end of August. So I'm very excited to see what they'll do for those 2 night runs.
All right. Well, hey, Connor, thanks for coming on, and we'll check back in when you get back on the road with this band a little bit later in this tour season.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right. I want to thank Connor for coming on. And really, it's funny. It's like this show last night. It's like, oh my God, that so much to talk about tonight. I really there's not really much to talk about, and I think it's just because, hey, listen, you have some shows that are noteworthy. This show has variety, but it doesn't have anything. It's like, oh wow, look at that. Like it's like there's a lot of good stuff like right recently coming back tour debut, but Not like last night, we wanted to know what that peace on earth was like. We wanted to know some of the experiences of Connor and Jessica and Wayne in regards to their experiences hopping back on the tour train here. All right, so we're going to get it set up for our second guest to come on. And let me just get them unmuted in the background. All right, so we are going to bring on Jessica and Wayne. Just kidding. Let me go back. Let's see. Let's see if we can get them on here. We'll get it right. I will make sure we get everything set up. All right, here we go. All right, Jessica and Wayne, how you guys doing? Oh, wait, hold on.
Hi, Marcus.
Hey, how's it going? So tonight, I'll just be honest, from watching from home, it seems like tonight didn't have as many punches as last night. I mean, listen, recently comes out, you get that Hello Again, which I'm kind of and I'm not really as big on it anymore since I've heard it a couple of times. But what do you think about tonight compared to last night?
They were different. Tonight was fun. It was a fun show. Yesterday felt it was more deep cuts, and it just felt different.
What about you, Wayne? What did you think about tonight compared to last night?
It was a really good show. I think it was a little better. I could have done it without the Peace on Earth 2 nights in a row. But I get what you said about it being a new song and they're putting the feelers out. I get that. But, it's kind of like a bayou when you hear it that much. No, it's a great song. It's got kind of got like a Madman's Eyes vibe to it. It's just 2 nights in a row. I could have went with something a little different. Brought back Kill the King or something.
Yeah, no, that's understandable when you go to both shows and it takes up that spot. But like we were mentioning, everything else was different. There was and you have no Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
You have no Crush taking up 3 hours of the show. You have a lot of different things.
Didn't have the quadruplets in there.
Yeah, so much to say. Anyone seen the bridge? Too much. Word up. Back to too much. Back to so much to say. Back to P&P into PIMP. 50 Cent cover. Not just kidding.
What's really got me through the loop is I really thought tonight we were going to get Let's Dance. I don't know why. I just figured we were going to get it. So.
Well, yeah, if you follow the logic of them bringing stuff back after a couple of tour dates or even longer off, it would make sense. Obviously, Fool in the Rain came in as a cover tour debut, but they didn't play Word Up today. They didn't repeat it like they did the first couple of tours. So it's like it would make sense if someone's playing that setlist game, you throw in a Let's Dance, you throw in a Sledgehammer, because it's been a minute since we've gotten those back around. But alas,
I've been throwing Let's Dance in for a while.
Well, they're dancing to other covers this tour more frequently. Jessica, what was your favorite song of the night?
I feel like I'm always happy if they play Nancy's. That's probably like my first favorite Dave song.
What about you, Wayne? What was your favorite of the night?
I don't know. Squirm was different tonight. Squirm was really different. It just felt different. The energy was different. It was dirty. It was a dirty Dave.
Okay. All right.
That's
So
what it felt like.
gotcha. All right. So Dirty Dave at the 16 spot tonight. Squirm makes its tour debut. There right before Billy's closed out the main set. Did you guys leave early with Rye Whiskey and then Watchtower? Did you guys walk out to beat the traffic?
Nope.
No, I love that closer. I really like Rye Whiskey. And Watchtower was a lot of energy tonight.
Okay.
And it seemed like the crowd liked it.
The crowd was into it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I will say, even though I don't like when they close on Watchtower, it is a crowd favorite. You have fans that, whether they just go to one show a year and they've been going for one show a year for a long time, or people who even go to multiple shows a year, they absolutely love it, and they still find joy in that Stairway to Heaven interpolation. I love Zeppelin, and I love Bob Dylan, and I love people who have covered Watchtower. I don't find thrill in the Stairway to Heaven interpolation, like, oh my gosh, like, but it is without a doubt something that this fan base does love to this day, even as it's changed. You had a fiddle. I thought the violin makes that song extremely unique. And now that's gone. You have more electric guitar based, which to me puts it more in the Hendrix category, even though Hendrix does his own twist. When you have that electric guitar, it just changes the dynamic versus having just Dave and other instruments. So still a fan favorite, and that's why they still play it. As long as they don't close the show I go to. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Dave. Listen, you can do what you want. You control the set list. We only are here as fans, happy you're still touring. But please don't close the show with Crest, Dave. Any other thoughts? Any other? Oh, I heard. Is there like only one entrance to this venue? Is there any issues getting in? Or?
Getting in, no. Getting out took a little time. Had the Alpine feel, but a little quicker.
Yeah, it wasn't awful. It was fine getting in. I think we got there.
Well, we got there super early.
5:30 maybe.
Oh, okay.
And it was pretty easy to get in. It's kind of it reminded me of Fiddler's. It's like surrounded by a bunch of like office buildings in the part that we went through to get in. And then the lot layout and entrance remind me a lot of Tinley. And it's just like really big lots with barriers in between. And it was a little slow going to get out, but it wasn't awful.
Nope, not at all.
All right, and we posted the picture you sent me on. You texted me, Jessica, with the poster was still left over. So,
It was.
You guys are.
It was numbered at 850. So
I'm hearing some static. Hold on. Let me see if I can- I don't know if it's your connection. We'll put the poster up for everyone to see here. Yeah, you guys are. It's like a static. But we have the poster up here. Not a lot of people seem to like the poster. This is F4D Studios, which has kind of been getting more of the weight, should I say, of the tour season posters. They've been taking on more posters. Different artists from this studio have stepped in, and yeah, I will have to look online. Let me actually see if F4D Studios has an explanation, because I think context is important with these posters, but it looks like possibly someone that's indigenous, or I don't know. It does look odd. Let's see if we can find anything created by Van Design. Oh, it's based on Samurai Cop. Okay. All right. Well, Jessica, can you hear me? Okay, your audio is breaking up. I'm going to let you guys go. But happy Father's Day, Wayne. Thank you. Thank you for teaching me all the dad jokes and ahead of my entrance into fatherhood. And you guys take care. You guys are it's like really radio buzzing. It sounds like Bayou. That's how bad the buzzing and feedback sounds. So we'll have to let you go, but take care. All right. Sorry guys on that. I know you may have heard a little bit of feedback. I don't know what's going on there. Let me actually pull this up because I should have looked at this before. It's been a fun day, but it's been a playing around with my Sunday, going to an award ceremony. I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna rest safely and quietly here. Was One Sweet World say for here we can rest safely? I'm gonna crash into sleep tonight. Let me go pull this up on the gram. And I appreciate your patience as I pull this up. I want to pull this up. This gives a little more context. But I think it is Samurai Cop. Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead. We're going to get you over to the other screen I have here. All right. And we will. Okay. So I'm trying to zoom this in a little bit. Let's see if we can do it like this. All right. So it says the design is loosely based on the band's song Samurai Cop. Be sure to grab one if you're attending the show. Otherwise, we'll have alternate colorway APs available soon. Tomorrow, more info later. Okay, so this is a Samurai Cop type, like a inspiration. Interesting design. I will say it's different than the Methane, but I can see why people weren't as big of a fan of it. I think. Obviously, this is with the Samurai Cop idea that they're using music as the weapon he has, and he has this armor. But it would be cool if you have a sword in there, if you have someone, or even like a father, right? Let's not forget these early days, and I don't know. So holding a child, maybe that would get more. But I appreciate. This is different than it could have been another Methane, and it's not. And any day you have more variety, you have more perspective. Shout out to Zaz Corp Helen that did last night's poster. I love what she does as a local Connecticut artist here. By me getting love to do some of these DMB shows across the country over the years, not just be tied to Connecticut. So there you go, Samurai Cop. I could have just looked that up before the show. Like I said, it's been a fun day, but a long day. What else was I going to say? We talked about Dave's Daughters was there. This is just something I've learned over the years recording videos, but some of the videos and again, I know people are recording based on their passion, but just a tip, if you're recording this band and you have a cell phone, right? And most 99.9% of people that are capturing this stuff have cell phones. Some people have digital or some other special handy cam, like a DJI, and rare key. I think someone had a GoPro at SPAC one year, and they put that up. But when you have a cell phone, zoom as far out as possible. If you're trying to put content up and you want to have it at the best possible, when a cell phone camera zooms in too much, and again, I learned this on the fly myself, when you zoom in too much and you're far from the band, that could be mid pavilion, that could be the back of the 100 level or lower pavilion sometimes. Zooming out as much as possible will give you better shots. I find that as more people are shooting on cell phones versus digital cameras, that people are trying to capture this show the best they can. Maybe they don't know much about capturing. I still have much to learn. I just happen to be there and try to get the best seats possible to capture the show for you guys. But please do not zoom in if possible. If you want a tip, if you want advice, if you don't want advice, you can do whatever you want. But if it's one thing when you're in the pit or like you're on the rail, that's different. You don't even need to zoom. But I'm just finding that a lot of the videos that are coming out it's been years, but it's like people are trying to zoom in and be as close as possible. But some of the best video is just having that wide perspective of the lights in the band, and your camera is maybe at one. Maybe you get to 2 times zoom, 2 times, and even 2 times. I think 1.5 is like, I try not to go past 1.5. Sometimes I will get closer depending on how the picture looks. When I shoot in 4K, sometimes 2 times can be good if I'm in the lower 100s or right near the where the pit is, but in the seats. But yeah, people zooming in too much. The video looks so bad. It almost looks like an old cell phone. Like it looks like an iPhone 7, iPhone 4 video sometimes when you zoom in too much. The lighting for shows does not benefit zooming in the dark environments. And even if you notice some of the videos that fans shoot, if the sun's still out, like Deer Creek has a lot of time before the sun sets, or you get to Alpine, like my Alpine videos, where the first couple of songs, you get that sunlight, you get a little support when you zoom. But when you're trying to zoom in a dark environment with lights, stage lights, that cell phone camera lens just cannot handle zooming in that much. So we look ahead to Charleston, and I think that Charleston, the way they're playing these one night stands, I only have great hope for Charleston. You're going to have 2 nights. And again, when this band is able to stay in one spot, right? Even if they have a bit of a drive from the hotel to the venue, which can happen at sometimes. I'm not going to. There's some shows you'd be surprised, but I'm not gonna say what shows, but because y'all don't need to know. y'all be creeping. Some of you guys may know, but there's some shows like the hotel's not close, right? Anyway, when they have that 2-night stand, the band is more like they're just more relaxed. And they feel better, and they don't have to take another flight, and they don't have to set up somewhere else and figure out what the weather is and what their routine is in a different venue. They go to the venue night 1, then they go to the same venue night 2, and they can have stuff already kind of ready to go. And so with all of that considered, you get better shows. And with Hartford, in the Buddy Strong era of this band, they've never done 2 nights in Hartford. So they come into when they do come into my city, or not my city, I don't own the city. It's always funny, like people in the streets like, yo, this is my city. Like, yo, I run these streets. Like, no, you don't. You pay property taxes, sir. Like, this is not your block. All right. Why am I checking in? Anyway, I digress. But in the Buddy era of this band, they've never had 2 nights in Hartford. Now they've had 2 nights in Mohegan, but they've never had 2 nights in Hartford. And so just how those sets have been since 2014, there's been some good runs and there's been some shows that are better than others, but it's just, you can tell it's a different type of set. The creativity, the energy level, all that stuff. When you have 2 nights and they know after night 1, they're going right to bed and they're going back to the same place. They're getting consistency. So I have high hopes. If this is how they're playing the one night stands, Charleston is going to be an absolute, like, it's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. And then they're going to go out to Birmingham, Alabama, Alpharetta, 24-25. And again, you may get one of those shows is going to have a vibe where it's like deep cuts. The other one may have a vibe like tonight where it's more hits. But they're playing out the catalog. So Charleston will be fun. That Friday night concert series will be one that I love. I love listening to it this year. They sound amazing. And then Saturday I'll be checking in on the Couch Tour. By the way, on the Couch Tour, I say this. I will try to say this almost for as many times as possible. If you join the Couch Tour and they make bulletin board announcements, it's not the place to have debates about what songs you like. The mods don't want to have to stop fights. It's not the time to have political fights. It's not. There's just such a cross section of the community all coming there. And so just be smart. I think someone, Unrealistic Cliff Burton, said he's already banned from there. But if you get banned, you pretty much can't come back. It's very rare that they'll lift a ban or things like that. So it's better just to not talk on there and talk on the message boards or the forums or talk to your friend. But they have a zero tolerance. So just be careful. I want people to enjoy the streams. Also, again, do not critique the streamers. I'll be honest, there's some people that stream and you get a clear audio, and they're quiet and they're around people who are quiet. There's some people who do talk and sing, and that's their right as the ones recording it. Whether you agree or disagree, keep your comments to yourself. Be respectful. Again, they just have a zero tolerance policy. There's a lot of people hopping in some of these chats, 300, 400, 500. Sometimes you get more than that for each live stream, and there's multiple people streaming. And so the mods don't deal with, they have zero tolerance. You'll be out. I don't want you to lose this really the only link for certain shows to get an idea of what's going on, from obviously not physically being there, but just, hearing the Dave speak, seeing the crowd reaction, the kind of feeling a little bit of what's going on there versus not being able to just be fully blind to what's going on. All right. So there you go. With that. And that's really it. There's no plans for Volta or anything else that I'm aware of as far as other pro shot live streams at this time. I always hope we'll hear an announcement or we'll hear something. And if I can break the news, I will. Just like I did last year with Corner of Gray Street and then me. We both got to talk to the team, do some pre-recorded stuff. If I can do that, I will. But right now, there's nothing that has been planned. I hope I'm surprised. But I will take what we can get from this band. So if it's just Friday night streams, like, that is what it is. It's better than no streams. And the band has that control to say what they want recorded, what they don't, how they want it. But I'll say this band has been great to me. It's been great to the Couch Tour. It's been great to other creators. They could easily say, we don't want this stuff online. But they essentially, every video I have, I've never had an issue with DMB. As far as the actual show footage, right? They get the monetization as they should. And I could care less about that. I want to get this stuff on for the fan base. That's what I'm motivated by. So, all right. Well, I do want to say happy Father's Day. And in this world, there's a lot of different things going on. One of the things that is near and dear to my heart is being a male mentor, being a role model, and being a father. I believe that men who are raised to be men by other men, if every young boy had a father or had a father figure, the world would not be what it is right now. You can say, oh, it's this, you blame this, you blame that, you blame women. But if men were standing on principle and leading and being respectful and being kind and not being soft and not letting emotion ruin them and not learning from their mistakes, I think this world would be a better place. So every opportunity I get, specifically in my community, I've helped young men. As a young man, when I was a young man, my father, my grandfather, and other men in my church helped me to learn what it means to be a man. And every day I'm learning. As a father, as a mentor, it's always learning. Nobody's perfect. But I truly believe that the issues that we have, right? And even my second cousin Eddie, right? One of the kids he mentored just got into trouble and actually lost his life out here in the Hartford area because of his decisions, right? And it's heartbreaking when you mentor and you try to help people and sometimes it doesn't work. But a lot of those issues come down to having a father in your life. And so there's all these things that people stand for politically and personally, but to me, the most powerful thing you can do is break a generational curse. If you're a young man, if you're a teenage boy, or you're an adult and your father was not there for you, you being a father to your children, or you being a mentor to other young men in your community can change your whole life and can change the lives of others. That's why I mentor, right? And my grandfather, who's 90 years old, his father had issues with drugs and died very young. But he told my grandfather, don't be like me. Died in his 30s. His father died in his 30s. Said, don't be like me. And so my grandfather took that to heart, and my grandfather learned and had to learn things on his own and made mistakes. But to this day, still married to my grandmother and was a father to my dad and my two uncles. And when each of his children were born, he told my grandmother, you carried this child for 9 months. I got it from here. He was a mechanic in his heyday. And after getting home from work every single day, he changed diapers and stayed up late. And if the kids were sick, he was there up late at night, and then still went to work as a mechanic, became a pastor later in life. My father continued that lineage, being a father to me and my brother. And now I've continued that lineage myself. And so my grandfather, who never had a father constantly in his life, is 90 years old, no nursing home, lives with him and my grandmother. They're still living good, right? They get support from my uncle. He broke a generational curse of fatherlessness in my lineage. And then my father learned from my grandfather's mistakes, and I learned, my dad taught me things that he wished he knew. And I'm going to pass that along as a father. And so every day I wake up, and right in the crib next to my side of the bed is my son. And one day he has a picture that we took at Easter of me, my father and my grandfather all in the same picture frame. I truly believe, if there's one political statement I say, I truly believe men stepping up as fathers to teach their sons to be strong but be kind and be respectful and not get in these silly arguments and silly fights and stop trying to, don't ever crash out over silly things. And learn from your mistakes and let your emotions, release your emotions, rebuild yourself and step up to the plate. If those things were taught across the board, a lot of the issues we have in this world would be gone. So if you're at home and you don't have a father in your life, you're a young man. I can't speak for young women, right? I can't. But I'm saying as a man, I always think of this as a man. I can teach other young men and other men younger than me, even men older than me have said they learn from me, right? And I learn from I learn from men who are younger than me. But the value of a father is priceless. Someone said they're terrible exit out of the venue, just getting back to the comfort suites. Okay. So it was some issues getting out there. But that's my little Father's Day rant. But I'm blessed to have, one of my grandfathers passed away, my mom's father, who was my guy. And one of my last memories was actually going to a D&B show. I think it was 2018. And I stayed over his house as his caregiver. Because my grandma, we told my grandma, my mom's mother, to go take a week off. So we all stepped in. I stepped in for that night after D&B, and I was there the whole night, overnight into the morning with him, and we had some conversations. But I miss him. I love him dearly. I know he's up in heaven, but he was a huge influence on my life and other people's lives, including his nephew, who the rest of the family down south wanted to run him off the land we had down there because his father died at a young age, and they wanted his widowed mother off the property. And my grandfather said, absolutely not. Y'all gonna have to kill me to get those. These are the men that raised me. This is what is the biggest blessing in my life, is the men in my life. My grandfather said, you're not kicking them off the property. You're gonna have to go through me. My grandfather stood on business for his nephew, right? Until the day he died, he was the father figure in one of my cousins' lives, right? So my mother's first cousin, which is my second cousin, right? These are the men who taught me, listen, no matter what you going, I don't care what the world looks like. I don't care what the CNN, NBC, whatever they're saying. Every day you go and try to make this world a better place. Don't let the scare tactics, it don't matter what's going on, right? Fight to be the difference every single day. We think about these broad scale policies and all this other stuff, but every day we have an opportunity to make this world a better place simply by talking to someone, saying hi to someone, respecting others, and listening to other vantage points. Anyway, I know this thing went on like 5 hours too long, but happy Father's Day. I'm sure you can skip to the end, right? That's the beauty of YouTube. You don't have to listen to all this, but the men in my life are why I am who I am and motivate me to be the father that I am, the mentor that I am. And a lot of these men, they're not on social media. They don't advertise what they've done for other people, but they've literally put their life on the line to try to break up stuff, break up the violence in their communities, right? You don't hear about that. You hear about the killings. You don't hear about the men who are trying to stop people from doing that are trying to make a difference, that talk to another person who's literally about to take their own life, and another man says, hey, it's okay to cry. It's okay to get help. It's okay to... These are the things that I have seen from the men that have raised me, that have been influences in my life. And I'm blessed by that. That's why I'm so passionate about that. Anyway, you won't hear this. This is it. This is the one time a year where I'm appreciative of those who raised me. But it's your boy Conceviz34. We're going to dive in or dive out of this show with, of course, one of the most commonly played outros, Dive In. All right. Take care. Peace.
Try to look busy till the light turned green. Now I saw it there on TV, and his friends were all drowning, 'cause their homes were turning to water. A strange kind of sad big old bear, I'm sure it would happily eat me, tear me to pieces, I bear. Wake up, sleepyhead, I think the sun's a little brighter today. Smile and watch the icicles melt away, and see the water rising. Summer's here to stay, and all those summer games will last forever. Go down to the shore, kick off your shoes, dive in the empty ocean. Tell me everything will be okay if I just stay on my knees and keep praying, believing in something. Tell me everything is all taken care of by those qualified to take care of it all. Wake up, sleepyhead, I think the sun's a little brighter today. Smile and watch the icicles melt away, and see the waters rising. Summer's here to stay, and that sweet summer breeze will blow forever. Go down to the shore, kick off your shoes, dive in the empty ocean. One day you think we'll wake up in the world on its way to getting better, and if so, can you tell me how? Twisting, though we would like to believe that we are not in control, though we would love to believe. Wake up, sleepyhead, I think the sun's a little brighter today. Smile and watch the icicles melt away, and see the waters rising. Summer's here to stay, and those sweet summer girls will dance forever. Go down to the shore,